Welcome back, trainers. I've seen a few creators using Guzzlord, and I wanted to try and work it into my own team. Most of them seemed. Now, Guzzlord's kind of hard to pair with, right? You need to cover for its weakness to ice, fairy, fighting. It's kind of hard to cover everything. And yeah, obviously in this meta, and steel, obviously, and there's medi everywhere, registeel everywhere. So um, I was looking around and I thought Toxicroak can pair quite well with it. And so on stream we were kind of throwing around some options. Glaring Wheezing was one that I really wish could work, but I mean it probably would work, but I don't have one, right? So we went with Tentacruel, and I mean we went positive, barely, and I wouldn't recommend this team, but it was a lot of fun. I really like Guzzlord, it's super cool. Tentacruel also does well. Toxicroak was really fun in the back, especially with the shield up. But yeah, if you run into a medi, you're in trouble. But let's just say it didn't go all bad. And there were some games that I think I even could have won if I didn't play badly. So we'll cover that, and again, do as I say, not as I do. So let's dive into the battles. First game, we're going to lead into Shadow Canine, and this is great. With Ember, it paces 6 to every Weather Ball and 988 to the Scorching Sands, which they're normally running now. As you can see, this is my first game. I forgot to second move it. Brutal Swing is the more energy efficient move, so it's what you want to be throwing anyways, so didn't punish us this game. But you're going to see this Scorching Sand actually does quite a lot. It does about 50%, 42%, and they bring in a medi. And this is bad, right? We're counted behind. They're going to outpace us. They almost always bait, which is savage, but we, a Psychic does 120%, so it's killing Toxicroak and his kids. So we're going to bait back. This will be valuable chip damage even if they're no shield. And I can't give both my shields here. At least I don't think I should. We bait again and they no shield. They also want to save their second shield. And now I don't think it's worth shielding it. This is just going to be an Ice Punch. It's not. It takes out. But an Ice Punch would have barely took us out there, I think. Or just about. We're going to come into Tentacruel here. They instant throw the Ice Punch, assuming come back into Guzzlord, which is amazing. We resist this, and we're going to try and farm them down, but they have a Ferrothorn in the back. And now, this is not good. If they're running Thunder, we're screwed. I'm assuming they are running Thunder because they're building up. I'm going to try and catch one on my Guzzlord. They don't throw, but they end up throwing anyways, and this is great. Power Whip's going to take us out, and now we need to get... Maybe I should have baited here again, but yeah, they're going to shield. We don't get the attack drop, and this Thunder, I mean, we're going to shield the first one. They don't bait, but the second one, it does quite a lot of damage, right? It's going to do about 60%, and we're about there. So, GG's trainer. Next up, Gligar lead. I mean, this is a losing matchup, but we want to see it here, right? Absolutely destroys Toxicroak. Tentacruel doesn't do great into it either. They try and catch on Walrein, Shadow Walrein, and this is kind of great, right? I'm going to throw my Mud Bomb immediately, and it's a CMP, so they're not at the Earthquake yet, because it takes 9 to get to the first Earthquake. And I'm going to no-shield this about 55%. We're going to barely survive, because, even if I shield that, Gligar comes back in and absolutely walls me. So I don't care about that, and we end up simul-KOing. Now, I don't know what to do, so I let the game choose for me, and thank God we come back into the perfect matchup. They throw Aerial Ace, which is not the play, and I'm throwing Dragon Claw here, which is also not the play. Brutal Swing is more energy efficient, so that's definitely what you should be throwing, unless you're baiting, of course. I'm going to shield this because I can't let Tentacruel see this. Hopefully they're going to no shield now. Let's see. Dragon Claw's not going to do much, about 20%, and they bring in a Greninja, and this is kind of okay, right? Unless they get boosts, which is going to be savage. They throw the first Night Slash and don't get a boost. I'm just going to debuff here, which is probably a mistake, although they're very inclined to shield. So it's probably the right play. So it's actually fine. They're going to throw a second Night Slash here, and I think even if they boost now, which they do, it's fine, right? They're low. I'm going to just save the shield for Guzzlord. I'm not sure how far the Gligar is off a move, but I'm just going to farm this down. They don't get to a move, which is amazing, and we've got the move stored for the Greninja. And now when they're on 1 HP, I'm throwing the right move, but... Dragonair. So this is a great matchup actually. You can one shield and farm down, but I end up trying to catch a body slam there, which is probably a huge mistake. Guzzlord absolutely destroys Dragonair, even in the zero shields, right? If you survive a body slam does 35%, so you can survive it and farm down or grab a shield with a Dragon Claw. They bring in a Cresselia, and this is super bad. This thing destroys my whole team. Well, not destroys, but beats. Absolutely destroys Guzzlord. One Moonblast, for instance sake, does like 150% to a Guzzlord. Even though its HP stat is so high, its defense stat is really low. And now, I'm going to bring in this Guzzlord anyways, because it would be really hard for farm down Toxicroak. I just want them to dump the energy, but they end up baiting. And this is amazing. And now, I'm not counting now, but I don't even think they were at the Moonblast. They throw another grass on it. We can farm them all the way down, and this is sick. Even though we're shield down, they try and bring in Dragonair to eat the shield, the energy, and we don't throw. We swap in, farm them down, and it's a Diggersby in the back. This is probably the only thing we can beat. A Scorching Sand is going to do a lot, about 60%. Maybe it's more. Let's see. It's 80%. It does about 80%. So we're going to just try and take their shields down and get them to dump all their energy. Farm them as low as we can. We're going to shield one because these counters are obviously super effective and do a huge amount of damage from Toxicroak, which is such an attack-weighted Pokemon. And we're at the back-to-back here. So them baiting with their Cresselia actually cost them the game. If they took out my Guzzlord, that would have been a much better place. GG's trainer. Okay, next up, Tentacruel lead. Now, this isn't great. Actually it is. Guzzlord does win this. Again, I'm throwing Dragon Claws here. We kind of made this team on stream, so I didn't check on PvPoke exactly how the appropriate ways to play. But I checked afterwards before this video, and now I know. So, even though we kind of wall all their energy on Guzzlord, I'm going to bring in my Tentacruel. Because they're poison, I'm assuming it's double dark in the back, and that means my Guzzlord's going to be good. But then I see Umbreon, and I'm like, okay, it's Scrafty in the back. So I'm going to just make sure I get my Toxicroak on Scrafty, and then we're in a great spot, right? So we're just going to take this super slow matchup. Now I don't think there's any point in me baiting because Umbreon's never shielding, right? I'm not even going to throw the acid spray here because this is just more farm for my Guzzlord when it comes in. So we're going to bring in our Guzzlord, and they're going to hard swap Scrafty, and that's a mad mistake. So we're just going to bring in, I know that their Tentacruel's kind of loaded, so I'm just, it doesn't even matter, that does almost 0 damage. His counter's also doing basically nothing. So we're just going to eat the first one and try and 2 shield flex on them. It looks like a 4 shield flex at this point. They're going to bring back in their Tentacruel, and at this point I'm going to try and take their shield. If they throw, I'm going to just save shields for my Guzzlord. Even though Toxicroak would easily put in work there, Umbreon has quite a lot of energy, and so does this Tentacruel. So even if they bait me here, I'm shielding. I've got 2 shields. They don't bait, even though we get the attack buff. I don't even need my energy. I'm just going to farm down now. And yeah, very good game. Into the next one, we see a Deoxys lead. And this is not great. This thing kind of beats my whole team. And then as soon as I see them hard swap Vigoroth, I know this is triple counter team. So they've got Obstagoon in the back, right? So I know that now I want Deoxys on Guzzlord, because that is, at least has some play there. In fact, in the zeros, because Guzzlord walls all of Deoxys' energy, it's not that bad a matchup. The Deoxys leaves the matchup on like 5 HP. So yeah, really not so bad, even though the counters are doing super effective damage. I'm going to try and undercharge this, but I don't do it enough. My undercharging it definitely needs work, but maybe it's better because now I have Switch. They're going to hard swap and catch this on their Scrafty, which is a really good catch. It's a huge waste of energy from me, but I've got 2 shields. The Scrafty is basically doing nothing. I'm just going to save the energy for Deoxys' Psycho Boost. Interesting fact, Psycho Boost from Deoxys, even the third one, after it's now been completely debuffed does about 60% to Toxicroak, so it is a horrific matchup for Toxicroak. They've now got no shields. I'm going to be able to get this Sludge Bomb off, which does about 40%, which is decent, but yeah, and we're going to be able to farm them down now, easy. So end up beating a triple kind of team because we have 2 poison types in the back. Gliscor lead. Now this thing has Earthquake, which gets to 9 wing attacks, and they swap in a Dewgong. Now this is horrible. They almost always bait Toxicroak here, right? But if I don't shield, I just go down with all this energy. So I shield, it's a bait, which is kind of bad. I'm gonna bait. No, I'm not gonna bait. I should probably bait here. Although maybe not, but they're gonna shield, so they want switch, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I can farm this down with Tentacruel. They end up baiting again, and I get to the second move. And now they're going to shield this to keep switch, which is even better. Now I've got 2 shields, and I can get farm on my Tentacruel. Now they fall off the next Icy Wind, so I think I can farm down just in time. 3, yeah, I can, which is perfect. And in comes their Gliscor. Now, you can't see the chat, but they're screaming he has no shields, and I'm talking about baiting, deciding whether I should bait or not. So had I known, I would have just thrown that Skull there onto the Gliscor and take it out, because obviously Shadow Gliscor is quite squishy. This Ice Punch does an insane amount of damage, but yeah, Lotus Slam Slash is also quite a problem for this team. I'm thinking Earthquake is going to do more damage than Drill Run, and yeah, even if they bait here, I'm thinking I need to get to 2 because I'm too scared to bait. So I farm up to almost 2, almost throw the bait, but end up deciding to throw the Skull, and it takes them out. And I'm like, oh, my bad. But GG's. Okay, Amber on lead, this is great. We can do, unless it is Psychic, gonna beat it with our whole team. So we're just going to, play out this matchup slowly. It's okay, maybe it's not an amazing matchup, but you do win it, right? They have to throw last resort, so you severely outpace them. So we're going to, just keep throwing Dragon Claws, obviously, because the Dark Move is resisted. And yeah, this last resort is going to put us quite low. It does about 30%. And we're going to get to this Dragon Claw, but I'm thinking, I want to lose this matchup and come in and farm down, because I've got 2 poisons in the back. It doesn't really matter getting switch. So I'm going to undercharge this, because I'm thinking maybe they shield because they want switch, and they do. But if they don't, I don't want to take them out. So we're going to come in with Tentacruel and try and get a big farm down, and this is great, right? So I'm not exactly sure what's behind an Umbreon, but they need fairy answers and fighting answers, and there's both. And now I'm going to bait, although they got 2 shields, right? So baiting is probably ideal. Even if they no shield, I'm going to now go straight Scald. I need to shield this, right? Toxicroak, even though it resists all of this, I don't want to come in and have to try and farm this down. And I don't know what's in the back. If it's double grass, doesn't really matter where we spend our shields unless it's superior. But it's an Azu, and yeah, this is amazing. So I'm going to just debuff this thing as much as I can. I know I can probably farm them down, but I'm going to just come in and catch this play rough. Does about 50%, and we're going to just, I don't even think we farm up to the Sludge Bomb. I'm just going to throw this immediately. And yeah, it's not going to take them out, but they are super low. And GG's trainer. This team loves to see Azu in the back. Charizard lead. Also play this kind of bad. Now they're almost certainly going to shield this Dragon Claw. I'm going to throw, kind of poor timing, but they're going to shield, and I'm going to try and catch a Dragon Claw on my Tentacruel. Dragon Claw would do an insane amount of damage to Guzzlord. They throw it, does about 50%, and they bring in Swampert. This is kind of good. We don't want our Toxicroak on this, even though it's not the worst matchup. It's not amazing. And they no shield the Scald, which is great, knowing that this is kind of stuck in a bad matchup against Guzzlord. And I'm just thinking now, they're fighting answers in the front. They're probably weak to fighting in the back. I want to just bring in Toxicroak. I mean, I hope they're weak to fighting in the back. I've got 2 shields, and now it's kind of silly because I'm thinking, shit, now I have to farm down this Charizard. Like, this is Shadowzard, We get to farm it all the way down, and absolutely ideal. A load of sunshots in the back. We've got the back-to-back. Probably even farm this down in time. But they're not top lefting. We are just going to make their lives miserable, throw both his moves, and GG's trainer. Load of sunshots really a problem for this team also. Oh, I actually faced quite a few Talonflame leads, and the first one I shielded Flame Charge, and then I was like, I'm never shielding a Talonflame again, and every other one threw Brave Bird immediately. So I like to, I mean, you do survive it, so maybe I should try and throw on the CMP. They're going to bring in a Superior, and I'm going to bring in my... Obviously, Toxicroak doesn't love this because you get outpaced and they have Aerial Ace. I'm going to shield the first Frenzy Plant, assuming that if they land a Frenzy Plant, they can start baiting. And I'm thinking maybe there's a second Grass type in the back. And so this Tentacruel, if it can get a debuff on it, would be ideal. They're going to throw another Frenzy Plant, which actually does a lot of damage, like 55%. And let's see what comes in. It's a Medi, and this is bad news. We're down a shield. I'm not going to bait here. Kind of hope for an attack debuff. They shield, we don't get the debuff, so this is kind of worst case. Now I don't even build up to the Scald, so they're never shielding this. So at least they debuffed, right? I'm going to hard swap. They clear their debuff, but this gives me a lot of farm. So this is kind of great. They've got quite a lot of farm themselves. I'm sure if I shield an Ice Punch here, they easily get to the Psychic, so I have to hope they bait, and which is kind of a lose con for them. They fall into it. Now I'm thinking, I need to get to 3 Mud Bombs. There's no way the Sludge Bomb KOs. And they're going to throw another Ice Punch because that easily KOs. Okay, no wait, I just bait. It's a different game I'm thinking about. I just land the bait and we one off and we make it, which is amazing. Toxicroak, yeah, has a very bad matchup actually into Metacham. Here we find someone who did not get the memo, and again, I'm throwing Dragon Claw. This is a huge mistake. Oh, not huge mistake, but it's definitely not ideal. And that Sky Attack does a lot of damage. What's quite interesting is, I thought Guzzlord was thick and would lose CMP to things like Steelix, but it actually has 120 attack. For interest sake, Medi has 106, and like the same as Gligar. So yeah, it's rather high. It just loses to Swampert. So anyways, we're not going to shield Guzzlord. We're going to come and get a big farm down. They don't want to let us farm them down, so they're going to bring in their G-Fisk. This whole team is last meta, which is kind of crazy. I thought they were on 7, but I didn't trust my counting. That is the Earthquake, so I'm so happy I shielded that. And we're going to get a big farm down. And we're going to see that there's a Trevenant in the back, and now we're in a bad spot. I'm going to bait, kind of have to bait. And if they call this, we're absolutely screwed, but they do shield it. And now I'm going to not bait. I should probably try and bait to try and reach it, but this is really on CMP. And yeah, they're going to just throw the Seed Bomb. We're going to survive it. I'm just going to swap into Tentacruel. I need to farm this down. I mean, obviously I'm going to debuff it, but I need to get rid of this with quick attacks. Fast charge, fast moves. They're not even going to throw. I think I need to farm that down, but in hindsight, I think if I throw the move there, I can get enough farm that I can counter it down. Because I don't think they're getting to 3 moves. Maybe they get to 2 though. I think that might have just been a loss. Buzzwole, this is terrible. That's also kind of, I mean, obviously Toxicroak does well. I mean, Tentacruel does well into this. That's really bad lead, and they bring in a Steelix. And now they haven't debuffed me yet, so Steelix players always shield, but they don't. Okay, so, and we get the attack file. This is great. They're going to debuff us here and just farm us all the way down, which is kind of crap. I think they're going to shield this. Steelix is also a bit of a problem for Guzzlord. I think being a dragon in this meta is kind of bad because Steelix is everywhere and Steelix just wrecks you, right? The Breaking Swipe does a lot, right? That's debuffed. Look at those Dragon Tails either. They do like almost 10% each. Anyway, so we're going to take this out. I'm assuming it's another Steel in the back to defend them from flyers, and it is, and they swap out, and this is amazing. Right? We can just farm this all the way down, come out with 2 moves for the, and they know it, so they quit. GG's trainer. Steelix lead again, terrible. Now I think they're gonna have Toxicroak answers in the back, right? So it's not really worth saving 2 shields for Toxicroak because they're gonna probably have a flyer. So I'm thinking maybe Guzzlord could be strong in the back. I maybe should consider baiting here because they're not swapping out. The only thing is I don't like baiting if they can just swap out and then that energy is almost just a waste. I'd rather actually get damage. So yeah, they're going to throw a second breaking swipe. We're going to get to another skull and that's going to do not nearly enough, right? And they farm me down. So even if we're now bringing Toxicroak here, we're going to have to, they're going to get to 2 moves. So I'm going to have to shield 1 and we're going to come out quite low. We're going to eat the first one. Doesn't do too much, but Toxicroak is very squishy, even those Dragon Tails, and they just get to another one, which is horrific. I have to shield this. Don't know what's in the back. But maybe it's grass to cover for Swampert, right? That's a medi, and we've got a lot of energy, but we're, double debuffed, so I want to just get out of there, save all that energy, no use throwing it. And Ice Punch does about 40%, and they're going to catch us on Venusaur. Now, they play really well here. I'm going to try and farm them down and hope they throw, but they're going to do the same. And I can't let them come out of here with like a Frenzy Plant and a half, right? My Toxicroak's kind of low. So I throw, they're only going to get 1 counter, which is ideal for me. And now I think, this is the game I was thinking of, right? I think that I need 2 Mud Bombs to take them out and a 3rd to get the shield. The Sludge Bomb's not going to do enough, so I'm going to try and farm up, hope I survive this counter. And we were all screaming. Well, I say we were all. I was screaming because I thought I was there, but I was 1 counter off and we go down almost at the move. So terrible lead and we almost turned that around. This game, Lantern lead is amazing. Obviously we don't want to see this on Tentacruel, but this is fine to see on Toxicroak as well. But seeing it here is great. And now, they need Swampert answers in the back. They need maybe Dragon answers. It's kind of hard to tell, but they definitely need a Trevenant answer. Although that's not so common anymore. But this almost always paired with some sort of grass, right? Or steel. Okay, so they're bringing a medi. I don't want to let them farm me down. I'm going to come straight in here with Tentacruel, which is a losing matchup, but I can get some valuable chip here. They don't shield that, which is great. I'm not going to shield the Psychic. Hoping they bait, but also knowing that I need to save. Can't go shields down, right? I'm going to just barely get to this move, praying that they don't shield. I mean, getting a shield would be great, but I just want to get them super low, even take them out. Superior comes in and there's the grass type, and now we're kind of in a good spot. They did get a little bit of a head start on farm, and this might be a mistake also. I want to get a shield before I come in with Toxicroak, but now I'm just giving them farm, right? And they already outpaced Toxicroak. So I get my shield and now I'm coming straight in with Toxicroak. I know that Medi has some energy, and so I can't use both shields here, but I'm going to shield 1. Aerial Ace does about 50%, so it's not going to be life-threatening, but they're going to get to another one here. I'm going to no-shield this, and then unfortunately they get to a 3rd one. And now I should know, as soon as they take this shield, they're going to swap in to Medi and throw their move. I don't throw my move or try and catch, and so they're going to get rid of all my energy, and this is unwinnable now. If I CMP tied there, we easily win that game. So again, some of these losses are a player issue, not a team issue. But I must say, I saw a lot of mons that kind of just wrecked this team. But here's another great lead. Lantern, they swap into Superior, which places, same as Venusaur for the Frenzy Plant, 665, and then 5 to every Aerial Ace. And we're going to swap in. I'm going to get them low. I'm not sure if I'm going to try and farm them down here. It could be a plan, but nah, they're going to get, yeah. Tentacruel actually also wins a lot of CMPs. It's got 110 attack. They're going to shield, which is sick. I think I'll just shield and farm down. I'll just take my shield advantage. And if this is an Aerial Ace, I'll live. But it's not. I'm going to bring in Toxicroak and get an energy advantage here. Toxicroak up energy and a shield is kind of sick, unless they have like a Golbat or a Gligar in the back. Ends up being a Venusaur, and I'm gonna, this is a bait, but my bomb's still neutral and it's going to do quite a lot of damage. I'm going to catch this frenzy on my Guzzlord, which is sick, and we're going to be able to take them out, but this might be a mistake. I don't want to give them more farm, but it's only going to be one spark, and we just have to farm it to the back here, and there's no ways they're going to get to 3, right? They think they might be able to, but I can tell you they're not. There we go. Because of that other game where I was one off, I farm up over now to make sure I have the back-to-back, because I'm never going to make that mistake again. I actually screamed when I didn't have it and went down to that count. It was quite sad. And that's going to be all the battles. I hope you enjoy Guzzlord, and you know, if you're going to give it a try, there's a few teams out there. This one, you know, if you run into a Medi lead or a Guzzlord lead, you're in trouble, but I had a lot of fun with the team and I didn't get absolutely wrecked all the time. So yeah, give it a try, and please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.